Hey, how's it going, everyone? My name is Ryan with Iowa Classic Cars, and welcome back to the channel. Today it's Iowa Classic Trucks, and we are going to pick up where I've been working here the last couple weeks on the wiring and going to rebuild the gauges today. First of all, though, I've got a brand new rebuilt 1-barrel carburetor. Going to slap that on the truck, and then most of the video today is going to be covering the wiring. There's a method to the madness here, so I'll explain that in a minute, as well as how to rebuild the old gauges with some new ones. So with that being said, let's get started. So my friend Norm rebuilt the carburetor for me. It's a 1-barrel Rochester. The old one, I did a video on this a few months ago, did a will it run, and it did run, but it was pretty leaky. So Norm put it back together for me, did a great job. New accelerator pump, cleaned it all out. He said it was really gummy inside, so he addressed that for me. These are pretty easy to work on, just 2 9/16 bolts, or I'm sorry, nuts that hold the carburetor itself on. You have a vacuum line. Oh, come on. And then a fuel inlet, so pretty simple to work on. We're not going to fire this thing up today. I will crank it a little bit. I put a brand new fuel tank in this truck, which that was kind of a process in and of itself. Wasn't too bad though. Put new brakes on it. What else did we do? New brakes, new fuel tank, new wiring harness. That's American Auto Wire, classic update kit. Super nice kits, and I'll talk about that here in a second. But yeah, once we get this all tightened up, we'll come back and get the 2 fuel fittings on. Actually, I'm just gonna do that right now. Get that one started. How did this go? There we go. All right, we'll come back to this in a second here. All right, so I've got an original speedometer here. The needle's broken, pretty dirty. Can't read what that says on the back there. Elwood. Not sure, but we're going to take it apart. And then the other gauge is a 4-parter. It's gasoline, temp, battery, and oil pressure. Some of the needles move, but pretty dirty, so we're going to take it apart. The cool thing about these is that you can actually get these gauges. They're all individual, but they're brand new on eBay. Can't remember the company that sells these, but they are brand new. So let's tear into the speedometer first, and we'll go from there. All right, so first things first, to get this, this trim ring off, it's actually just crimped on. There's one crimp there. Looks like maybe a little one there. There's a pin right, or not a pin, but a crimp right there. And then one right there. So it looks like maybe 4 or 5, and then one right there. So I'm just going to fold that over with a flat screwdriver, and then the whole thing, I mean, it'll be stuck on there after 70 years, but once you pry them back, the whole face and the glass should come straight off with it. And I'm wearing gloves so that I don't get fingerprints on everything. Pretty simple though, just a screwdriver and a little bit of pressure. And I'm doing this on the tailgate of my pickup for a good lighting. So I think that's all of them. Yep, there we go. Just like that. So yeah, there's the old gauge. Looks like 26,000 miles. So now we'll clean the face up here in a little bit. On the back side, there's just 2 flat screws, and that holds everything holds everything in place. So I need a thinner screwdriver, but this will work for now. And we don't care about this old gauge because it's getting replaced with a brand new one. So there's a screw. There's the screw. You want to keep the little gasket, but as you guys can see, they were kind of stuck on there. So once that's done, there is a gasket inside. If it's in good shape, just keep it. This housing, I think this is probably lead paint, so this needs to be cleaned and thrown away. But once all this loose stuff is kind of taken off of there, we'll just put it back together. Very, very simple. And look at that. It still does work. The odometer, I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but the odometer is not moving. So it needs replaced, and we have a fresh one in the box. Hi, kitty. For comparison, old and new. So we're gonna put this bad boy in. I'm gonna get all this loose paint knocked off of here first. All right, so what I'm gonna do here first, I got this knocked loose of the dirty, flaky stuff. I'm gonna set the gauge in. Now the buyer of this truck is actually overseas, so once I get it set in the housing, and there is a new screw that comes with it, so I'm gonna set this on the plastic that came with it and go find a screw head that matches that size. All right, so there's a new gasket as well that comes with these, so the old one can go, I suppose. Stick it on there. Just set that bad boy in there. So now, you gotta get the screws lined up, which can be a little bit of a chore because these screws aren't the longest in the world. Make sure to never touch the needle. I'm just holding the outside of the housing now, but I was holding the outside of the gauge. There we go. It's got that nice old patina appearance with a fresh gauge. And as you spin the needle, it's working. So now what I need to do before I put this back together with the glass is I need to clean the glass and polish the trim. But I need to get some blue painter's tape and mark these for kilometers per hour. Can't put it on the outside. This buyer's their law in their country. The markings have to be on the inside. So I'm going to do that with some painter's tape. And then if he ever wants to tear them off later, they're not leaving a bunch of residue on the face itself. All right, so I've got this converted kinda to kilometers per hour. Not the most professional in the world, but it'll get the job done and it'll save the face of the dial. Now I just gotta line up the top tang, which is right there, and just get this lid pressed back on, which there it's nice and tight. And then I just take some snips and just kind of fold the lip over. There we go. There we go. And then I'll do the same around the edge here, and then the speedometer is done. All right, so I quickly realized that using the snips right here is okay, but pressing or kind of pushing these down was not okay. So what I did was I put the gauge against my stomach, take the fat head of the snips here, and just kind of press down into that trim groove, and it folded it right over. So 1, 2, 3, the top one. Maybe we'll do one more. You don't want to damage it. Just obviously just press it down enough to get it over that lip right there. So that gauge is all done. We can put that back in the truck. But now let's do the 4-in-1 combo here. All right, now the same goes for this gauge. Like these are marked plus and negative. That's a triangle and that's a heart. I have no idea what that would be for. Gasoline. Probably the ohms resistance. Nonetheless, though, these gauges are getting changed out, so I'm sure the new ones will have some information. So let's take this thing apart and go from there. All right, so got that. The top one pried open. Now we just start taking the face off. And just use a flat screwdriver and just pry against the body of the gauge. Man, this one's got a lot of crimps on it. There's 2 more. And that's like this one's number 6, I think. Number 5 and number 6. Yeah, and then right there. Okay, so that's kind of cool that the gas gauge moved. So here's the top with that little cutout. So it goes fuel, volts, oil pressure, temp. Just gotta remember that because you gotta put it back the same way. So I think we're gonna do oil pressure and temperature first, because those two just unscrew. Or do they? Okay, that's kind of interesting, is that it looks like the oil pressure and the fuel gauge have tangs that sit underneath. So the first one to come out actually is going to be the voltmeter or the temperature. I'm only going to do that one because it's two screws as well. So I'm learning something with everyone else here today. Come on. Yeah, so that's pretty cool how that works. So now with that out of there, probably not the ideal way to do it, is to kind of slide it in there at an angle, but you can take it out, especially if you're going to replace it. So the first two to go in will be the oil pressure and the fuel. And then once that's done, the volts will go on top. So I don't get these backwards. I'm just going to lay them out in their original configuration. All right, so I'm not going to film all four of these here, but they do have the original tangs, you know, like the old ones did. So put these ones in first and the other ones on top. So pretty simple. I mean, all the connections are right. It even comes with a new gasket which says sender ignition, so make sure you don't get those confused. So the ignition on this fuel gauge will be on the E side. So just keep them separate and set them in their hole. Pretty simple to do though. So far I'm in this thing about 15 minutes. This last one's a little annoying. It's the water temp, and it comes like with the sender attached. And I'm almost afraid to like try to take it apart, so I'm just coiling it into its hole here, which is kind of scary, but we're getting there. All right, so there's the finished product. Looks pretty nice. The needle was free moving a little bit, but once it gets hooked up to power, it'll be okay. See how it's coming down slowly? Pretty cool. All right, let's get the face cleaned up because it needs some love, and then we'll put her back together. I might be a little biased, but I love the new gauges in the sweaty pitted housings. It just looks awesome. Because the truck, I mean, the truck has got a super cool patina to it. It's actually a really solid truck, but it's just got a nice patina. I mean, hand painted paint, everything like that. So you open up the cab and you get these fresh gauges in the sweaty housing. So pretty cool. Gonna get them put in the truck. Super nice. There's just 4 little studs on the inside of the dash, and you just bolt them up. So super easy to do. So American Auto Wire makes a pretty nice kit. It's called the Classic Update Kit. The one thing that's the bane of my existence is these little light connections here, these little crimp connectors. I always break like 4 of them, and it's just a real pain. So someone must have complained to American Auto Wire because they now come pre-supplied. We're not going to use this harness. This is VSS. I think this is like the new style gauges, like electronic gauges. Not going to use that. If anyone wants to see a video, like an in-depth video how to wire a car or truck with American Auto Wire, I can do that. I mean, this stuff is pretty self-explanatory. I mean, gas gauge, the green one is water temp, blue is oil pressure. So pretty much it comes with the instructions. It's all plug and play. You just have to pretty much make your ends and then install them. So I got the speedometer in the truck, but this one, because we have multiple gauges here, I'm going to build it out, you know, these wires here on here. So pretty simple to do. That one has a water pressure sensor, but because this one is just a mechanical gauge, it won't need that, so we'll just leave that disconnected. But it's nice because these kits come with things, you know, if you want to put a small block Chevy in your 53 Chevy truck, it comes with all the provisions here, you know, to add all the cool stuff like the water temperature, actual sending unit versus just a mechanical gauge. So a lot of cool wires here. It's pretty plug and play. Just going to put this back together and then we'll throw this bad boy in the truck. All right, so it's getting kind of late. The sun's still up, which is good. Got a little bit of gas in here. It does run, which is pretty super cool. But check this out, everyone. These kits are actually like, they really are painless. I know it's kind of silly to say that, but the dash lights work. The high beam indicator is on, or the light's on anyways. Both headlights work. If we come down here and we hit the switch, high beams are both on, which is super, super cool. All right, I'm gonna put some more gas in this thing and we're gonna start it up. I'm filling the vent right now. Oh. Hold the brake for good measure, which now work. A couple pumps, key on, and the key shuts it off. Key on. Probably out of gas. Nonetheless, she does run and stop and start with the key, so that's pretty awesome. All right, so one thing I want to note here on a stock truck, I mean, this kit's good. It probably isn't like made for a stock truck. It's probably made for like a V8 swap or whatever. Headlight harness is right here, ground right here, pretty obvious. Water temp and oil sender are right here. This does not have an oil pressure sensor in it. The temperature comes from the gauge itself, so that's right there. We have electric choke, coil. I don't remember what this one is offhand, but it's not used. This one, this is another water temperature sensor, but it's not used. This is for the resistor to bypass a ballast resistor, not used. Electric fan, not used. This is all your charging. There's two 175 amps. I believe they're 175 up here. This goes to your starter, to your battery cable. This one feeds your alternator. This one is, there we go. This one's alternator. This one goes into the main harness. So you can clean it up a bunch of ways. Coil wire goes right there. One thing to note, let me get the flashlight. One thing to note is if you have a manual transmission, you have to connect the wire. It says solenoid and neutral safety switch. Sorry, right there. They're both purple. I couldn't figure out why this thing would not start, and that's why. So we have a little bit left to go here. I mean, a lot of cleanup. It is kind of hard to route these wires with stuff still in it. That's probably the hardest part of this whole job, is actually routing the wires correctly. The last one I did for this guy that bought this here, he actually bought the Gold 59. I got the wiring kind of in place, but then he finished it up, getting it where it needs to go, which is fine, because if he puts down carpet or does something custom, then at least you have extra wire to play with there. So I don't want to say this is a rush video, because it's not. I mean, we did get a lot done today, but starting this whole project, I didn't want to film it because these wiring kits kind of, they take a while to kind of get used to. And then running wires and just kind of in my own mojo, just doing that. Doing the brakes, pretty simple, you know, wheel cylinders, new hoses, stuff like that, nothing too crazy there. So didn't decide to film that because the people that are watching my channel have been doing this basic stuff longer than I've been alive. So no reason to show that. However, I have had some comments asking about the Cameo Coral 59 project. Here's the frame. There's the body, hasn't moved yet. However, we are getting closer. I got the spindle and all that stuff done. I ordered an internal spring compressor tool to get the spring in, but this side's almost done. New tie rod sleeve. I painted the, I don't know what you call this, the mount. New idler arm, or pitman arm, I don't even know what you call that, but it's new. All this stuff is new bushings. I did pack and redo this hub for this side, but the spindle's not done yet, so we're getting there. I am anticipating having the frame done, I would say, within the next month and a half. I know it's obviously a month and a half for this little amount of work here, but just getting the time to do it all is the big thing right now. I'm gonna rebuild the steering box. That'll go right here. Gonna rebuild the steering linkage. That'll be probably the last step. And then once we have an engine in it and all that good stuff, we'll tighten up the suspension bushing bolts right here and here, and then in the back. So I am working on it, but I don't have a video just yet. And if you guys want to see a video of just packing a wheel bearing, then I can put those out every week. But been working on this, been working on the truck. Just got a lot going on here, trying to get it wrapped up. All right, so it's been a pretty quick video, I guess, in terms of the content today. It's all filmed in one session. This is what I do every night after work. Just work until it gets dark, go inside and repeat the next day. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a thumbs up. I will do a video of this truck soon once it's driving. I got a new windshield ordered, new back glass, a new side glass. Gonna replace that. I will probably make that its own video, how to replace the side glass, and then the windshield and the gaskets, because this one is a rope style install, whereas the back one here, if I can show this, is a lock bead style with some trim that goes in the middle. I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but that C10 over there was the same way, put a new windshield in that, and it was an absolute bear, and there's not a whole lot of good videos out there to show how to install them. So we will do the glass in another video coming soon. But if you enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Comment what you would do with this truck. Would you restore it or just leave it the way it is? You know, sweaty and new wiring, new gauges, new brakes, but nice patina body. And if you're brand new, make sure to subscribe, as I'm always finding cool stuff like this out in fields, auctions, barns, and trying to put them back on the road. So thank you all for watching. My name is Ryan with Iowa Classic Cars. We could not forget Felix. Where's he at? Hey, buddy. He gets scared when I start the truck. So yeah. All right, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next week.